The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. This is it. My favorite. Probably not my favorite show of the year, but the 91st Annual Academy Awards. Picks, bets, preview. We got it all for you. And if you want to get into a draw for 20 DK dollars, it's pretty simple. And there's two ways to do it. Number one, smash the like button on this episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section and tell me, out of all the categories, it could be best sound design, it could be best picture. What is the biggest lock on the board to win? Also, if you want to get into a draw, go to the audio podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, no matter where it is, leave a 5-star review after you subscribe, say something nice about the show, and leave your DraftKings handle. Boom. You're in a draw for 20 DK dollars. Winners announced on next Monday's show. To help me go category by category to break this all down, a man who has seen 3 of the 500 films that came out last year, it is Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson.
That is not my name.
Have you caught up on a lot of these movies?
On many of them, yes, I have.
Nice. Have you seen, out of all the Best Picture nominees, which ones have you not seen?
I did not see Black Klansman.
You really haven't seen, really? That's the only one?
That's the only one I haven't seen. I caught up in the last 4 or 5 days.
All right, cool. We'll go category by category and jump right into it. And unlike the actual Academy Awards, we'll go with like the ones that matter the most at the beginning and then kind of go through. We'll go over the odds and really break down for like the big 8 categories. Then we'll just make our pool picks for the rest of them. That seems sensible enough to you?
I mean, it's your show, so that's what we're going to do.
I'm just glad you didn't say yes, because then obviously the order would be cursed and I'd have to change it. So I like where you're coming from on this.
I don't believe in curses.
Yeah, we know you don't, but the rest of the world believes that you can curse almost anything. As we saw, Tim, would you like to regale us with the tale of how Moonlight won Best Picture?
I'd rather not, actually.
Okay, I mean, we did an entire show based on it. That was great for me, too, because we've been doing this Oscars pick show for like 6 years now, and I gave out Moonlight 8-1 to win that year, and I thought I was lost. And then all of a sudden, you had to go and take a victory lap after La La Land won Best Picture, saying how right you were, and then what happened?
I mean, you always chastise me for taking victory laps too early. So I waited until they were announced as Best Picture and then justifiably took my victory lap and they snatched it away and gave it to Moonlight because Warren Beatty doesn't know how to read a card.
Do you think that he is the most successful illiterate actor alive?
Probably.
Before we dive into this, I know a lot of people are unfamiliar who are watching like a movie show about betting odds in general. So I'll lay it on the line here for you like this. We're going to be using the plus and minus system of how to determine a favorite. So when we talk about something that's, let's say, a minus 500 favorite, that means you would have to wager $500 in order to make 100. That's an overwhelming favorite. Now, if something is plus 1,000, that means it's 10-1. If you bet $100, you win, $1,000 on top of it. So that's minus favorite plus underdog. That's the way, all you really need to know when it comes down to this and trying to determine what's a good bet, what's not. And a lot of these places don't let you parlay these bets together, which is unfortunate because that would be a way to make some cash on it. There are some places that do it.
No, I had a free money parlay.
So obviously you didn't actually try to parlay these together, did you?
Well, no, but I know what I would have parlayed together.
Well, you know what? At the end, you can give us a free money parlay then. How about that?
Thank God. It's been too long.
You can give it out. I mean, for people who don't know, Tim was a very impressive 2 for 17 on free money. 3 for 17, sorry, during the football season on these free money parlays. So this is obviously a winner, right?
And on one weekend, I hit 2, so.
Which is not saying much for the rest. Well, I mean, the one that you gave out on Thanksgiving couldn't lose. No matter which way that you teased each of the games, it won.
Savvy.
Pretty good. Pretty good thing that you do it every week and you couldn't lose on one of those weeks. It was impossible. But you're taking credit for it. I like that.
Yeah, because it's over.
Very on brand for you. Let's get into this, though. Best Picture for the 2018 movie season, the 2019 Oscars. Roma is the favorite. The odds are brought to you by DK Sportsbook. So you can wager on the stuff. You live in New Jersey now. Roma is the favorite, minus 305. Green Book is the next, plus 375. The favorite, 14-1. Black Klansman, 25-1. Black Panther, 25-1. Bohemian Rhapsody, 30-1. A Star is Born, 40-1. And Tim, your favorite movie of the year, Vice, 100-1. Probably not going to win Best Picture, which I'm guessing, let's start with that, your least favorite movie of the year. And guess what? You cursed it into a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah, utter trash. I don't know. I mean, if I remember how the new voting rules work, at least 5% of voters have to have it in first place for it to be eligible to be on the nominations. Like, what people took leave of their senses who aren't like in the immediate family of Adam McKay that could have ever said that movie was the best picture of the year. That's just risible.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that anyone would have called it the best picture of the year. I mean, I liked Vice. It was fine. And the problem was the first half was significantly better than the second half. Second half was, I mean, I'm not on board with you that it was like unwatchable and wanted to walk out. It was fine. But I found like the first 65 minutes super compelling.
Yeah, I mean, if you like half-hearted political hatchet jobs and dishonest storytelling, I guess it's the movie for you. But if you don't like your intelligence being salted and don't like being lied to and having history completely twisted and misinterpreted, you're not going to enjoy the film.
Well, there's also a stylization with Vice, too, that we saw, I would say, improved upon from The Big Short, just the way that Adam McKay is making these movies. And I guess we'll talk about this when we get to best editing, too, that there's a visual style and a language to these movies. The way that it's told is so much just in stark contrast to everything else. And I think that goes a long way in its favor. Like I assume if you're 65, you don't like it, but if you're like 40, it's probably pretty cool.
Oh yeah, who wasn't enraptured by a fake Shakespearean soliloquy between Lynn and Dick Cheney in bed? I mean, man, that's such intelligent writing and so impressive.
I mean, the Academy thought it was pretty impressive. I see a big Best Original Screenplay nomination here for Adam McKay as well.
Great, they like him. I don't know. He's living off laurels and of past successes. I don't need to rehearse myself. That movie is utter trash, and
so you're not picking it to win. All right. So Star is Born, 40-1, which everyone thought was like going to sweep the Oscars like, I don't know, 6 months ago. And then all of a sudden now people, it's not that they don't like it, but like, frankly, it's not great. It's fun. And it's super fucking depressing. There's going to be spoilers throughout the course of this. Like, I'm not going to ruin the ending for anyone, but like, it's another one of these movies where like the first half, like it took a while to get going, and of course you got to establish some characters, and Lady Gaga needs to talk to Bradley Cooper. She needs to be discovered, but it seemed like a lot of it was shorthand in the middle of the movie, and I don't know. I actually was more into the Bradley Cooper side of the story than the Lady Gaga side of the story, and that's just not how the movie went.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, it's just a retelling of an old movie, which wasn't all that great to begin with Chris Christophers. I mean, you can clue in pretty quickly that Jack is going to have problems and that he's a depressive fella and that things are going to end badly. And particularly when it is discovered that he can't get that ringing out of his ears, it's clear where this, I don't know, it's just, the music is good. Like a couple other movies in this, that the music is good, the movie's not great. This was a year for not great movies, but to give the Academy its credit, A Star is Born is an example of at least people saw this movie. People know this movie. They'll be able to associate things with this movie. So I mean, it's known, but it was perfectly mediocre. Like it's a C- movie. I don't know what the cinema score was for it, but I can't imagine that it was bad. They probably had a pretty good cinema score.
Oh, I think between this and Bohemian Rhapsody, there's probably the two most and Black Panther. Black Panther. Black Panther's on sort of its own orbit when it comes to likability, box office, and reviews compared to the rest of a lot of these movies. But yeah, I would say Bohemian Rhapsody and Star is Born are in a very similar vein in terms of people really liked it. There's performances that people like, and there's not really too much you need to think about the movie. And I don't know, the Academy doesn't love that sort of thing.
No, it's an empty calorie movie, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong. I mean, it's weird. Like people aren't making movies like A Star is Born very often anymore. So credit for them to make it and for it to be competently and creditably done. But, you know, it would be an injustice, I think, if it won Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's 40
It wasn't the best movie this year.
It's 40-1, but it's strange because it seems like when you look at this movie on paper and even how it's performed that you think it would be one of the favorites?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to win Best Song, I think, and that is sort of what this was a jumping off point to sell 100,000 movie soundtrack records, which I think will be probably its greatest legacy. So I'm excited about that.
So it's going to be very much in the same vein as "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," that the soundtrack becomes more popular than the movie.
Yes, but like on a 5,000 time larger scale.
I don't know. Like
People don't watch Coen Brothers movies outside of like 3 of them.
Sure, but that soundtrack I think is still the highest selling soundtrack in the history of movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that could be. I mean, I would have something like Pulp Fiction might be higher, but you could be right.
I mean, I don't even think Pulp Fiction's inside like the top 100 of best-selling soundtracks.
I'd have to look that up. I don't know what the top selling soundtracks would be.
Well, you have to think like there's no original music in Pulp Fiction.
No, that's fair.
It's like I remember Titanic sold a bunch just because that song sold
That one song, yeah.
And then "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," it won a whole bunch of Grammys for like bluegrass music. Like it was a very cult hit in like that realm of music. And now, I mean, I don't know how A Star Is Born is doing in terms of actually selling, but I know like Spotify wise, it's huge, and that's how people,
of course it is,
and that's how people consume music. So it's hard to judge it against something that came out 25 years ago.
That's a very fair argument.
And that's going to be one of the problems that we get into when we talk about how many people have seen these movies, especially in this Best Picture category, when one of them is just on Netflix, that you have no idea how many people
and
have
Netflix
seen
gives
the
very
movie.
deceptive stats about how many people have actually watched its movies and how long they've watched it for. So you can't really take that. You have to take all that with a grain of salt.
Well, let's circle back to Vice for a second because it has a bunch of nominations.
God, why?
Well, it's going to win something. I think it's not going to win. I mean,
how many Razzies did it win?
What's that?
All of them? Did it win all the Razzies? Because that's what it should have won.
It did not win all the Razzies. And I was going to make a case for Christian Bale, but he's
sure, you could, I guess, actually.
The thing about the movie is, and the reason that it ends up in Best Picture is that I don't think that anyone disliked any of the performances in the movie. And then you have 3 actors from the movie nominated in the acting categories. I think it's going to end up winning Best Makeup because the makeup is exceptional in the movie.
Yeah, sure. Okay, great.
But you see how it piles up, and then it ends up with a Best Picture nomination because all these different guilds end up liking what the movie did. If the acting guild is behind anything, it's probably going to end up in Best Picture because that's by far the largest. Yeah, but
you've got to get 5% of voters to say it was the best picture, and I don't know. I guess.
Oh, really? So you're thinking that in liberal Hollywood that they're not going to 5% of the Academy's not going to like this movie? Come on.
I mean, that is a fair point. But I would think that liberal Hollywood would want to support a movie that's at least a better rendering and a telling of a very dishonest and facetious story than this one. Like they could do better. Yeah, but I mean, I guess if you want to back Adam McKay, go ahead.
Again, back to the stylization of that movie. I think the parts of the movie work better than the movie itself, and it makes it far more palatable than if it was just a straight like biopic.
I guess that's right. I mean, like cinematically, it's not that is not terrible. I was just blinded with rage and anger while watching it. So perhaps
most people don't get as triggered as you do about.
Well, because most people don't know their history.
But you are very susceptible to being triggered about everything, and this just seems to have hit one of those. Oh, really? You're still mad about new Diet Coke flavors.
They're awful. Every one of them.
Have you even had them?
They are awful.
The answer is no. You just see it and you get
blueberry
triggered. You're
acai Diet Coke.
Listen, people who want to think that they're drinking healthy by drinking Diet Coke want blue acai berry Diet Coke.
Well, they are drinking healthy if they're going to drink Diet Coke.
No, they aren't. They aren't drinking healthy if they're drinking Diet Coke. You drink any form of soda, you are not drinking healthy.
Healthier than if
there is no healthier. There's bad and not as bad. You can't put healthy in front of that. That's ridiculous.
There are gradients to all of these things, of course.
Well, soda, very bad for you. Diet soda, also bad for you. Not quite as bad.
No, well, I don't quite agree, but anyway.
Okay. You are the doctor. Please inform us of why diet soda is something that's healthy.
It has no calories. It can fill you up. There are a lot worse things that you could consume than that to feel full and not eat or try to lose weight or something.
No, you don't want to be drinking Diet Coke if you're trying to lose weight. That's ridiculous.
Well, it has no calories. It's all calories in, calories out. So, you're hurting yourself.
That isn't necessarily true, though, because it depends on the calories that you're putting in. Like, if you only ate 1,500 calories per day and it was just like Sour Patch Kids, you still have a bunch of sugar in your system, and that's terrible for you. And injecting aspartame into yourself isn't good either.
I like it.
Of course you do. Health expert Tim Anderson. Bohemian Rhapsody, 30-1, probably the most popular. besides Black Panther, again, it's on its own little level. But
it's got its own
Bohemian Rhapsody it's a fan favorite. And the movie itself is like, I saw it in IMAX. So the sound really comes through well. It's nice to see on the big screen. It's just not that great of a. There's a good movie in this movie, and there's a great Freddie Mercury story to be told, but this movie didn't tell it.
So, like, and I remember telling you about you when I was up in November because I had just seen the movie. I didn't see it in IMAX. I saw it regular Max, just on a
regular Max,
not a regular movie screen. I thought that the storytelling was bad and that the musical performances were great, and I stand by that. Like, I think the musical, like the Live Aid performance at the end, is the best part of the movie. I thought that all the singing and the songs are well done. I thought the casting, outside of, I have my problems with Rami Malek in that role, but outside of him, I thought the casting was exceptionally well done. As I said to you, I thought the guy who played Brian May looks like Brian May to a shocking degree. I liked the movie, but I didn't love the movie, and I stand by that. I thought it was like it's like either the best music video I ever saw or the worst attempt at a movie trying to be a music video that I ever saw. I don't know which it is, but it was good, but it definitely wasn't the best picture. But again, it made $1 kajillion. So I'm glad to see it being rewarded because people really liked it. So it spoke to some people.
Yeah, I think it's just, there's a whole generation of people that just love it. I mean, you love Queen. I like Queen. Going to see the songs like reenacted is great, but it's really no different than going to see like a Queen tribute band, but just
not really.
On a higher production scale.
Yeah, someone's made this point before. Like, it's not like Queen was a band that put up with a ton of obstacles through their path. Queen, because they were so good, like just started rolling throughout their musical careers. So, and then there are people who are upset with the orienting of the Freddie Mercury story and him contracting AIDS and telling people, the band members, before the concert, and that didn't happen until years later. But you have to allow for a movie to have sort of artistic license. It was the same sort of criticisms that people made of the movie Selma a couple of years ago when they said, oh, well, the way that LBJ was being depicted isn't true to life. But like, it's a movie and it's allowed to take liberty. So that
okay,
part
so if that part doesn't bother you with this, how come the Dick Cheney confusion with
because
some of the facts?
It is just lie after lie after lie.
But they're taking artistic
lie.
liberty. If one of them doesn't need to adhere to a certain set of rules, why does another?
Well, when you just boil down the Valerie Plame scandal to Dick Cheney telling Scooter to leak it, which didn't happen. That is not how that went down. It leaves the audience with a misimpression of how an actual important event took place. And that wasn't the only example. There's 100 of them. Misinterpretations of central executive power, stuff like that. I just found insulting for those of us who actually have spent more than 30 seconds studying the topic, which of course Mr. McKay hasn't, other than just glancing whatever far left Twitter is giving him mentions, I guess.
So Bohemian Rhapsody.
You keep wanting to circle back to this, and
I just find it funny how mad it makes you. It's really hysterical. Which is ridiculous. It's a movie. Get over it.
I will get over it.
You're not over it. It's very clear that you're not over it. You're going to continue.
It will be shut out of these Academy Awards.
See, I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it's a gigantic favorite in one category, so it's going to get its win.
Let's hope it doesn't. But we're circling back to a movie that people liked in Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't want to step on their hearts by saying that I didn't love the movie. It's just that I didn't think Rami Malek looks like Freddie Mercury. That bothered me. They're very different, like shaped and natured people. I mean, Freddie Mercury's teeth are a very distinctive part of who he is, and that is not. I don't think that the people doing the makeup and the apparatuses for Rami Malek did that justice. And Freddie Mercury is like nearly a foot taller. So like, I appreciate the effort, but
no, I mean the actor's size is something that's going to bother you.
Not bother,
because he's framed in a way where he doesn't look little.
He doesn't look as little as he is compared to how Freddie was such a presence in the way that I just don't think Rami Malek embodies the presence, if you know what I'm saying.
See, I thought they shot it in such a way that I thought that actually I thought that was one of the better parts of his performance in the movie was just the upshot angles, the hero shot that they gave him the entire time, and just filming him on stage really did make it seem like he had that Freddie Mercury presence. I thought that was one of the better aspects of the movie, actually.
I don't know. I don't think it's replicable. I think you can try as hard as you want. I don't think you can catch lightning in the bottle twice, and I don't think anybody can impersonate Freddie enough to really grab his essence. That's the way I look at it, anyway. But nevertheless, like I said, I thought the music stuff was great. Thought the costumes for the most part were great, and I thought I enjoyed it, but didn't love it.
Okay, Black Panther, 25-1. This won the Screen Actors Guild Best Ensemble, which the Screen Actors Guild makes up a large portion of the Academy voting body. Does Black Panther at 25-1 have a chance to win?
Absolutely, it does. I think the odds are too high. I mean,
Really?
I wouldn't. I'm not picking it, but it should be like 15-1. It shouldn't be 25-1 for if no other reason. Pardon me. Then you just said it won the Screen Actors Guild Award. No, I think that it's not like there's a 1-to-1 relationship between predictive value there, but I think that's something. It was a great movie. It was the second best superhero movie of the year, but it's the best one nominated for Best Picture.
What would you have as number one? Spider-Man?
Oh, no, the Avengers Infinity War was better. I liked Spider-Man 2. We can talk about that when we get to
No, it wasn't Spider-Man 2. It was Into the Spider-Verse is the movie that's nominated.
I liked Spider-Man, TOO 2.
Not Spider-Man 2.
No.
With Mysterio.
No. Anyway, I thought Infinity War was better. But I really liked Black Panther. I thought the movie is fantastic. I was a big fan of Killmonger. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's unusual for a movie to come out as early in the year as this did and be nominated nearly a year later for Best Picture. I don't know.
That's less and less and less and less. Like the last movie to sweep all 5 big Oscar categories came out in February. So
yeah, but that doesn't happen often. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It seems like movies are backloaded, and this one came out in February for obvious reasons to celebrate African Heritage Month and stuff like that. And I get that, but it's just I had almost forgotten about it until a month or so before award season. It's like, all right, that's eligible for these awards too. A really good movie. And if it won Best Picture, I would be perfectly happy with that, because not only was it a really good movie, it was the most popular movie of the year by a decent amount. And there's nothing wrong with the Academy rewarding movies that people like to see. They have gone off in a tangent, picking okay to not great movies that nobody saw, and then wondering why people aren't watching anymore. People will start to watch when they nominate really good movies that people love. Black Panther's, to be sure, an example of that.
Well, the big thing with Black Panther, we have all these nominees for Best Picture solely because of Dark Knight. When it didn't get nominated, the people freaked out that we need more we need more nominees for Best Picture so movies like this can be in. And now we've seen over time that maybe it doesn't need to be 10 or 8 every single year. Maybe 5 is fine. And then we get these extra ones. Like if we were back in the old category, there's no way Vice gets nominated. That's just not happening with the 5. But now that it's been expanded, it gets in. So you get Black Panther in with this. I think because of the outrage that went along with it, with Dark Knight not getting in, that if it was still 5, Black Panther would have got in either way. But
oh yeah, I think so for sure.
Where we haven't seen a superhero movie break through in terms of just nominations, now this is here. It seems like kind of a leap that it would just win right away. Just with so many, people like you, old fogies in the Academy, don't like themselves some superhero movies.
Well, but they probably should realize that they're like the most lucrative movies being made now, and that like if it's not a Star Wars movie or a Marvel movie, like very few other things get any attention. Like Bohemian Rhapsody is sort of an exception to that rule, and A Star Is Born to another degree. Like mostly it's just superhero movies and Star Wars movies, and so that there's something to be said about if that's the way the movie genres are going, then maybe the Academy should be rewarding the movies that are the absolute best at what they're doing. I mean, remember, was it a couple of months ago they took away the idea that they were going to have an Oscar for best picture in popular film, and then they got rid of it, essentially making a award for superhero movies and taking it away. Like, I think that they should be rewarding movies like this because it's time to go back to what they used to do, which is to reward really, really popular movies that also happen to be really, really good.
It strikes me as odd that it ended up winning the best ensemble for acting, yet no one in the movie is nominated for acting. That has to be working against it.
That is very strange because I thought the guy, the guy who played Killmonger, absolutely should have been nominated.
Well, it's,
for
it's
Best
funny.
Supporting.
Like people are really torn on that Michael B. Jordan performance. I'm with you. I thought he was.
I think it's
I thought he was.
fantastic. I think it's better than Creed. I'll stand by that. I think it's better than Creed.
I mean, I think it's equivalent. And one's a supporting performance where you get to kind of chew up a bit of scenery, and the other one's Creed, where
I'm not sure
you're
it's
the
better than
you're-
Fruitvale Station, but it's definitely better than Creed.
you're the star of the movie in this sense. The problem with Black Panther is the very end. Like that fight scene between them at the end is just bad.
Okay, but it's hard to make fight scenes look realistic.
Sure, but I think the big success of this movie is that you have a superhero movie that relies more on actual storytelling and character and plot development than it does on action set pieces. And the action set piece in like Korea when they're in the casino and they have the car chase, that's an awesome scene. That's like
Yes, it is.
that's one of the better designed like fight scenes in quite some time. But you have this big like culmination, the climax of the movie. The last half hour is gonna be this huge action piece, and it's just not that good.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it wasn't a perfect movie. I'm not praising it as an A plus, but I mean, the other movie, I don't know what its cinema score was, but I bet you it was like an A.
The audience rating 79%. That I believe. Let's see,
The B plus.
79%. Take it for what it's worth. Let's see. For Bohemian Rhapsody, 88%. Star is Born, 80%. Green Book, 94%. Black Klansman, 82%. 56% for Vice. So you'll probably be happy about that. Somehow The Favorite only has 64%, which is shocking. Roma, 75% in terms of audience rating.
No Mother-like quality in there.
No, I mean, I will ride for it. You still haven't even seen Mother, have you?
I did see it.
You did see it?
Yes, of course I did.
It's so good.
trash.
It's gonna.
I like Aronofsky stuff too, and that movie is trash.
Mother is going to have a shelf life as a movie that's shown at like a small local theater at midnight. It's gonna end up with a cult following just because it's so bonkers.
Definitely the way it was advertised.
I mean, that's not the movie's fault that the movie was advertised incorrectly. It's not like Darren Aronofsky's like, here's what we're gonna do. Here's how I want to advertise this movie. It's gonna be nothing like we advertise it, and people are gonna love that.
Yeah, we're gonna make it an allegory about how much we hate humanity.
I mean, it could be an allegory just about how strong the environment is, and even if we destroy it, it will recreate itself.
That was not the message I got from that movie.
Well, I mean, movies are art. Tim is to be interpreted in different ways.
Yeah, okay.
So, Black Panther 25-1. I do think it has a punching chance here. I don't think it's gonna
definitely.
Win.
It would be in the top 5 on its own if we didn't have the expanded categories. It's here on its own merits.
So the top 4 in terms of odds. Black Klansman is the same as Black Panther at 25-1. You said you didn't see this, so I was actually I really wanted to get your take on the very end of this movie. So the movie happens, the movie finishes, and then Spike Lee cuts in actual footage from the Charlottesville stuff at the end. And I thought, I get what he's trying to do, but I thought the movie worked so well on its own merits that it seemed a bit much at the end. Like, oh, in case you didn't get it, watch this.
I'm sure it was still more tastefully done than another movie nominated for Best Picture that needlessly linked in clips to the current president and tried to bash you over the head with it. So I'll give it that.
So I guess where you didn't see it, I really like Black Klansman. One of the things.
Sure. I mean, I didn't see it. I got no opinion on it.
I have a note here. Adam Driver was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I thought he was give the 3rd best performance in the movie. He's fine. Like, he's really good. Denzel's son probably should have been nominated for Best Actor. And Topher Grace as David Duke was off the charts good. Just because you don't expect Topher Grace to be good.
Fair enough. Like, is Adam Driver the hero? Like, he's the hero of the new Star Wars movies?
I mean, he's the co-hero of the movie. The description of the movie, I guess I would say, is John David Washington's character is a cop, ends up on the line with David Duke. David Duke thinks that he's white, so then he infiltrates the KKK. I believe it's in Colorado, and he obviously can't go as himself, so he sends Adam Driver to be him at these meetings.
Oh, okay.
And that's how and he's also a cop. That's how they infiltrate.
I've heard good things about it, and I do want to see it. I just haven't had the opportunity.
Yeah, it was a good in the theater movie to watch. I mean, it's probably not like epically big, so you can watch it on the small screen, but I thought it was really good. But I don't think it has a chance of winning this. My favorite movie of the year is 14-1. You can find it a bit deeper on books that are not DK Sportsbook, but The Favorite is 14-1. The Favorite is the best movie of the year, but I worry that it really has no shot. The case for it is that I think it's going to do really well in a lot of the technical categories. If we talk about like costume design, production design, I think it might win screenplay, which has really been the crossover since the Oscars expanded to the Best Picture nominations. That screenplay has really linked up with Best Picture more so than director has. And it used to be the case where director almost matched with Best Picture every single year. Now that's no longer the case. It's a movie that is unmistakable to watch. Like the cinematography is unique. It is, I guess the thing is, it's probably just too weird for people.
I can imagine. And I mean, I don't know what its numbers are, but I can't imagine anybody has seen this movie.
$31 million, shockingly. That's a lot more than I thought it would have been.
That's still not very much, and that's
yeah, but that hasn't really played that much of a factor of what wins Best Picture.
No, it most certainly hasn't. That's fair. I was just saying we're now moving into the realm of movies that nobody saw.
But we're with The Favorite. We have so many of the guilds that really like it. Plus, all three of the main characters of this movie are nominated in the acting categories.
Yeah, I thought the lady who played Queen Anne absolutely embodied sort of historically when I had read my history, how I imagined Queen Anne to be, although slightly less depressive than I would have expected, given how disastrous Queen Anne's various pregnancies had been. If I'm not mistaken, she had 17 miscarriages.
Yeah, so I guess the big thing with this is how do you look at this movie? Like if you had to, like at the Golden Globes, Olivia Colman won for Best Actress, Lead Actress in a Comedy. Now, I think the movie is a comedy first, rather than a dramatic piece. Now, it's a mix of both, obviously, but I think it tries to be funny and works from there, and I think it succeeds at doing that.
Yeah,
and that might be the thing that holds it back, because the Academy loves to award dramas, not comedies, when it comes down.
Yeah,
to
it's a tragic comedy, right? In the classic
it's a dark comedy. It's essentially the same. It's not the same movie, but it's in the exact same tone that Phantom Thread was last year.
Maybe. Although if this had 31 million, then that's about 30 million more dollars than Phantom Thread made.
I'm curious to know, but it's the same dark comedy that.
Yeah, I mean, and in the end, there is a lesson being taught to the audience, a fable, if you will, about what happens when ambition is overstepped with both of the courtiers of Queen Anne. Both come to grief because of their sort of their rage and their jealousy and their ambition. And so there's a lesson to be drawn from this about not trying to shoot too high to exceed your grasp. So I liked that. I thought that too often these days movies don't tell a very clear and obvious moral, good instruction for the audience, and I liked that about it. I thought that's commendable.
Phantom Thread made $48 million at the box office.
Did it?
Yeah. And it was the best movie of last year, so it makes sense that people would want to go see it.
It was not.
It was so. You thought that Phantom Thread was a bad movie?
Yeah, I've now come to the point where I think it's actually a trash film.
That is one of the worst takes that you've ever had on this show.
Oh, I hear that so often.
But like, that's a legitimately bad take.
I just didn't like it. I mean, I found it niche and trying to pretend to be too cute, and like I can just imagine, I can just imagine. Trying to think, why am I blanking on the actor's name?
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Daniel Day-Lewis spending 15 months in some tailor shop in northern England learning how to be a seamster in order to nail the role, because he has to be his character. Like all that stuff, I just no longer find that interesting. And I don't know, as much as I really like most of Paul Thomas Anderson stuff, I thought that one was too cute by half.
I think it's one of his better movies. It's immaculately shot, and I think, like The Favorite, I think it's a comedy first. Like, it's a very funny movie.
I guess. I mean, let's not turn this into a conversation about a movie that didn't win anything last year.
It won I believe it won 2 Oscars last year.
I just want to take a shot. I don't care if it's true. I just want to take a couple of shots.
That's all I wanted to hear. So when we do like a
The Favorite is a good movie. It was not the best.
The Favorite is the Favorite is the. I mean, nothing plays more to my sensibilities than extremely dark comedy, and
that's fine.
And I think that's very fair based on the movies that I've talked about over the years on this show that I really like. And
I'm not going to roll you for it. But I just don't think it was the best.
This checks all the boxes for this, but I do have a case of it winning Best Picture. So I'm going to bet it at 14-1. In the pool, I'm just going to pick Roma to win, because Roma's, if the favorite to win, it's probably going to win. But you can get a better number than 14. You can probably find 20 out there somewhere. And I think it has a better than 1 in 20 shot based on a lot of things that I talked about. You have all of these guilds that are probably going to award it for costume, for production design, for screenplay, for makeup, for hair, all this sort of stuff, all the ancillary stuff that goes into making a movie is excellent. People love Yorgos. That was clear because I remember we talked about 2 years ago. I just gave Yorgos a special shout out because he was just randomly nominated for The Lobster in Best Screenplay. People like his sensibility, his dark, sort of sharp edge on it. And I can't remember the last time like a Greek filmmaker actually won anything, and he's up for Best Director in this as well. And just the cinematography of the movie is really cool. Like a lot, normally when you associate like fishbowl lenses with anything, you're thinking of like a skate video, but I thought it was really used well in certain aspects, especially like on the long dark corridors of the palaces, like when they're really showing the walls come in on the characters and using that fishbowl lens. I thought that was used really effectively. So there's cool stuff like that in the movie. And then you get into the acting of the 3 acting awards, all female leads. And I was looking it up. There's something called, what was this called here? It is the Bechdel test, where in the normal Bechdel test over the years, it's just if 2 female characters are on screen talking to each other, are they talking about the male characters in the movie? And most movies, at least over the past 50 years, have been set up that way. This movie is almost the exact opposite. There's only one scene in the movie where 2 male characters are talking to each other about something that doesn't directly involve the female leads of the movie, and it's when they're having those like duck races and throwing like rotten vegetables at that dude, which is a great scene.
Yeah, well, listen, I think that's all very well said. I just don't see it winning Best Picture. I think there's just too many behemoths in its way.
I don't know about that. I guess we'll kind of go on to it a little bit more, but like Green Book is up next at plus 375. If Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali don't star in Green Book and don't have the chemistry and aren't as charming as they are, this movie is unwatchable.
Well, sure. And if my aunt had wheels,
no,
she'd be a
but
bicycle,
it's not like
right?
the story is trite. It's borderline racist.
Well, but it's a true story, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and now the family of Doctor what's his face.
Dawn, you mean?
The Mahershala Ali character, like his family's going to be like, yeah, this is not how it kind of played out.
Well, that could be. I don't know anything about that. But I was under the impression it was essentially a true story.
There's a lot of well, that's how it's being marketed. But everything's a true story if you say it is. It's just like how Mothman Prophecies is based on true events. Not true doesn't mean it's fact. Anyway,
that movie terrified me.
That is a terrible movie.
It's terrifying in the same sense.
But the whole thing is like this movie is just. Mahershala Ali is going to win Best Supporting Actor, and that's probably the only thing that it's going to win. It had a lot of good vibes. People, I think, liked it who saw it, but I mean, there's a scene in the movie where the white guy teaches the black guy how to eat fried chicken. Like it's not great.
It isn't great, and it's had a lot of pushback. There's been political pushback against the movie, but what you can't deny is that when you finish it start to finish, it's an enjoyable watch.
I agreed, but so is Bohemian Rhapsody in that sense.
Sure,
and so is A Star Is Born. I mean, Star Is Born is far more depressing than this, but this is just it's a happy movie that you'll watch once and never. And like I'll talk about this with Roma too. Like Roma's a movie you'll probably never watch again, but it's a movie you'll think about for some time. Like Green Book just escapes your memory the moment it's over. You're like, hey, that was all right. I'll never think about that again.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I thought it was a good movie in that I thought the acting performances are excellent. You can certainly point to, if you will, problematic aspects of the story, sure, but the plot hangs together coherently. It tells a story. There's a start, there's a middle, there's an end. It goes in predictable places for the most part, but whatever. I thought it was a fine movie. Like I'm not gonna bash it. I thought it was all right. It just wasn't the best movie of the year.
It's surprising because when it was in Toronto, I actually saw it at TIFF when it premiered up here.
Oh, of course you did.
And it won the audience award up here. That's where it first premiered. I mean, of course I did.
Of course you did with snifter of Merlot, I'm sure. And
so there was a movie festival, the largest movie festival in the world in the city that I live in. Actually, right next to the What's that? It's way bigger than Con.
It certainly doesn't have the reach that Con has. Con is
but it's substantially bigger.
But it's not as prestigious.
I mean, to you, but you don't even know.
Palme d'Or
you don't even know which one's big and which one's not. You'd probably think that winning Sundance is bigger than winning the audience award at TIFF. It's not.
Those are different things. Clearly, Con is the biggest movie in terms of like prestige. there's nothing more prestigious than
Now
the
who's
Palme
sitting
d'Or.
around with their Merlot, just looking down from their ivory tower? Oh, it's not good unless it's taking place just outside of Monaco, and only a select few movies can go there. Not even good movies go there. So yeah, that's fantastic.
Well, sometimes good movies do.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes all the movies appear.
You
at-
just
at
wish
TIFF.
you lived in the south of France. And
I mean, I wouldn't hate to live in the south of France. I don't have Pat Mayo doesn't have that kind of coin to live in the south of France. Toronto's good enough for me. But anyway, when I saw it there, it's a movie that the more you think about, the worse it gets. And that's why I say that if you watch it, don't think about it. And it doesn't ask you to really think about it the more it goes on based on the story. It really wraps itself up. But like, I don't know, I'm not Italian, but I feel like I would have problems if I was Italian and I watched this movie too.
that may be. I mean, listen, it's not a perfect movie, but I was giving it a lot of slack as I watched it because I thought, hey, I thought this was essentially the retelling of a true story, and that's how these things happened as they happened. So if that's not true, well, then that changes one's view on things. But I thought it was. I was under the impression it was a pretty faithful telling of a real story.
I guess the whole thing is like, if my grandma was picking Best Picture, she might pick this, which could go a long way in helping it for the
I was gonna
Academy
say.
Awards, because although the overall Academy has really shifted in terms of its bodies over like the past 5 years, just to include younger people, more diverse people. So it's not just a bunch of old white dudes and white ladies who are voting on this stuff anymore. It's gotten substantially younger and more reflective of what the base is. And I think when we're talking about this from a gambling aspect, and that's one of the reasons why I picked Moonlight to win it 8-1 2 years ago, is that it was the first sort of manifestation of all these new voters coming in, and they would want to have their piece heard, and that's why Moonlight had more than a fighting chance to beat La La Land, despite the fact that it wasn't given credit during the betting odds. It should have been like 3-1 instead of 8-1. Obviously, it was never going to be the favorite to win, but it was just too long. And that's kind of how I feel about the favorite this year. It's just, I don't know. I know we've seen not like bad movies win Best Picture, but like movies win Best Picture, and like if we talk to anyone, is Green Book really going to appear on anyone's like top 10 list of the year? Is like, oh, you know what I love?
No.
Let me tell you about Green Book. And be like, did you see Green Book? Yeah, I thought it was okay. You should go see it. Like, that's sort of the
Well,
response.
I'm sure some people absolutely adore it. It doesn't get to be nominated for Best Picture. If
Yeah,
it
so
doesn't,
you say
that's the
that,
right
but I mean, there's movies that get nominated for Best Picture that are just like, come on now. Like
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
that Tom Hanks movie that came out after 9/11, which was just horrible.
extremely loud and incredibly close.
Yeah, that movie is a
that
fucking
was not a good-
travesty. That is
Yeah,
horrible.
and that dropped off the face of the earth, and you never heard about it again.
It was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, I know, but then you never heard about it again. Like it's not on TV or anything like that, or the movie network never shows it.
Yeah, because it's bad.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like Green Book might end up having a life after the fact. Like if people were still like big into cable, I could see it being on TBS for the next 20 years, but that's just not how people consume movies anymore.
I like to watch movies when they're on TV.
I'm sure you do. Finally, Roma. We kind of buried the lead on the favorite for everything, minus 305. I loved Roma, but listen, you can make a case for it. It all depends on how the story hits you. Is it going to be something that you find incredibly boring? And I know a lot of people that think this movie is absolute garbage and find it unwatchable. They can't make it through
So I
20
don't think
minutes.
it's that. I just thought it was like I had such high expectations because Cuarón makes movies like Gravity, which are so spellbinding, and this just wasn't.
It's funny. In terms of Gravity, I think that's an interesting juxtaposition for this movie because almost like The Favorite, all the aspects and technical elements of this movie that go into it are just incredible. Like, he's going to win Best Director, that's without question. Like, it's an immaculately directed movie. Like, each of the frames of this movie look like they could be in a museum as an art piece. Like, you need to be super into cinema, I think, to like this movie. And I don't think that seeing it on the small screen where it debuted on Netflix and that's where people are watching it does this movie any justice. Like, that's how I saw it. But if I have the opportunity to go see it in a movie theater on the big screen, I think that would sway a lot of people. I think it's funny to think about a movie not like Bohemian Rhapsody, which deals with giant crowds and great sound, or Black Panther, where you really want to see, the high definition of a lot of these visual effects that just work better on a big screen than they do on your TV. I think that Roma plays a lot in the same way.
I think that's right. Now, one point several people have made, and I think this is a strong one as to why Roma would not win Best Picture, is that why in the name of God would people working for or who belong to the Academy want to encourage Netflix in any way? And why would you give them a vote? Because Netflix is not helping you.
Well, yes and no. a lot of these people who are in the Academy now, no matter if you're a production designer or an actor or a writer, who's the one cutting the checks to everyone that's not in superhero movies? Netflix.
Sure. And those
So
people have a vote. But there's a lot of people for whom the movie business as it is, is endangered by Netflix.
yeah, but those
And
people,
so they would have a vested
but those
interest in-
people aren't even close to a majority of the voters.
No, but you don't need a majority to win. I think
But
you
like,
just
but
need
it's
to-
almost unrepresented in the Academy. Like
You
it's
think? I don't know.
yeah.
I mean,
Acting is the largest branch of the Academy.
yes, it is.
And so you got to think that actors love Netflix because they're paying out the yin yang for movies
Sure,
that
I just wonder how
that
many
studios
rear
don't
guard-
make anymore.
I just wonder how many of the rear guard will be able to shoot this down as a shot across the bow to Netflix saying, we're not rewarding you for what you're doing.
Now, it's,
I don't know.
It's minus 300 to win. So it is the overwhelming
It is what
favorite.
I'm going to pick to win. I don't think any of these were the best picture. Of them all, Black Panther was my favorite, but I don't think any of them were the best picture of the year.
Well, let's talk about this in one other way too then. So we look at the odds and we see everything. So one thing that I think that you have to project onto the Academy and the way that the voter sensibility has worked, I mean, we're talking about a show that doesn't have a host at this point, is the political ramifications of a lot of these movies. And is that going to influence the decision? Like a lot of the backlash against Green Book has been that it's kind of racist.
And it's been taking a lot of heat. Although, I mean,
And-
was it Kareem Abdul-Jabbar who stood up for it and said, actually, this is a good movie?
I didn't see that, but I think that there's been the public perception of the movie is that it's not the most racist movie on the face of the earth, but it's problematic to enough people that it probably disqualifies it. Or it could go the other way, where people make a stand on it and be like, "No, I didn't think this was racist at all. I'm going to vote for it because of that." So you have that leaning. A lot of people have talked about Roma that the only reason that it's the favorite is because it's an all Mexican crew. It's a movie that's in Spanish, set in Mexico by a Mexican director, and it's going to be an FU to Trump. I don't really buy that whatsoever.
No, I mean, listen, I don't doubt that people in the Academy want to thumb their nose at the president, but that is not the reason that Roma should be considered the best picture or the best year. It's a very good movie. I mean,
And despite the fact
it
that
would be it would be a foreign language film to win best picture. That would break, progressives love to set records of being the first of something, and that would be the first. I mean, unless you consider The Artiste the first foreign language film to have won best picture, maybe you do, but outside of it, I would think this would be it. And I think that it was a good movie and it would deserve the honor. I wouldn't be upset if Roma won. I didn't love the movie, but I never thought this thing was bad or it would be somehow an injustice if it won best picture.
It's going to be a weird disconnect because the Oscars, you talked about like they were going to bring in the popular movie category. And instead, they nominate some populist movies for best picture to really get people into it. But like, I can see it losing just because there's so many people that didn't like it.
Sure, I can see that. And I said, you underplay it. I think the Netflix aspect has more legs than you do. So I think that's driving against it as well.
It's really tough to know. This is like the first real at
It is
bat
tough to know.
that Netflix has had, but it didn't hurt Manchester by the Sea really when that was an Amazon movie.
I guess that's right, but it didn't win best picture in the end.
No, but
Like,
but it also wasn't the favorite to win best picture that year.
That's right.
The,
So
the
it's
categories
slightly
that it
different.
was favored in, it won.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. I think you make a good case. In the end, though, I'm going to take Roma, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
So we're both going to pick Roma for best picture?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds boring to say. It's not what I'm going to cheer for Black Panther to win, but I'm going to pick Roma.
Yeah, I'm actually going to bet the favorite at 20 to 1.
I think Black Panther's got a better chance to win than the favorite does. I mean, the Black Panther has already won the SAG award. I mean, that tells you that it has the potential legs to win a vote in a crowded category like this. I think it could go over the top.
The favorites piled up all the other Guild Awards, and it had a pretty good showing at the SAGs in terms of overall nomination.
Sure.
But it was weird. But it wasn't nominated for Best Ensemble, which I thought was just absolutely shocking. But I guess they don't consider 3 people in an ensemble.
Well, unless you also consider those ducks.
Yeah, I guess the Ducks. And there's someone in the movie who was unrecognized that really should have been. We'll get to that when we get to supporting actor. But some more political stuff here. Like the Green Book, it has that working against it. The favorite just seems to be like outside of it being a Mexican production. And even though there's the revolution going on in the movie in the background, Roma's a pretty apolitical movie by and large.
I thought so too. Yeah.
So it's not really
It's a safe choice. I think it'd be a very safe choice.
yeah, it's not really projecting any politics onto it. But then you have Black Panther and Black Klansman and Vice. Those three that if you want to talk about a movie that's like a socially conscious movie, I think that those three, Vice isn't going to win. So then you're between Black Klansman, you're between Black Panther. That is something that could push Black Panther over the top, I think, is that like, hey, this is a movie, if we're going to talk about Roma being a movie made by an all Mexican production team, by a Mexican director, you're talking about Black Panther, the first real superhero movie that has an all black cast, all black film crew, all the way down the line. Like there's some people that if they win some of these technical categories, they'll be the first black person to win in like 45 years or the first person ever to win in some of these categories. So if you get behind it that way, maybe you're right. The 25-1, maybe the move is to bet the favorite and Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, all that you've said is true. Plus, you add that to this is their first opportunity to award the superhero genre in the Best Picture category, which is like the lifeblood of Hollywood right now. Like you add all those things together in a year of pretty weak movies overall. I think there's a strong case to be made for it.
I guess the one thing is, and we see this a lot with the Oscars, and it almost bleeds into like the Glenn Close sort of thing, is the Academy's not real keen on giving a movie its due the first time around. Like the nomination, they might feel that's good enough. Now, 15 years from now, we'll give a comic book movie Best Picture. Like they have a long history of doing something like that.
Maybe, but you just made the case that the demographics are younger and more diverse, and that the voters don't approach things in the same way. So.
Well, my final point on the political ramifications of this, I think that if there's going to be like a black wave vote of getting behind something that's uplifting and important for the movie business, I think that works more in the case of Black Panther than Black Klansman, and just the actual story of the movie and what it's trying to say isn't just something that pertains to black culture. It's something that pertains to the entire world.
Sure.
And I thought that was a really important part of that movie.
Yeah, and it had like $900 million or something. Like was it the second most popular movie of the year after Venom or something? Like it was crazy.
But the flip side of all of that. So we talk about, is a Mexican thing an anti-Trump vote? Is stuff going to work against Green Book? Are you going to have a black block of the voting academy that's going to go for Black Panther or Black Klansman? I mean, lefties are going to love Vice, but it's just not good enough that's going to win. The favorite, the big underlying thing of why I think it could win is that it's the only one of these movies that just stars women.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's a very underrated part of its chances.
There's a strong case to be made for that, for sure. But again, I just think in this crop that it wasn't, because it's not as popular. I don't think there's any momentum for that movie in the same way that you could see momentum for. That's the way I look at it.
It's won a lot of awards.
The movie itself hasn't, though. Like people doing stuff for the movie had.
Yeah, but that's where you're going. I mean, it ended up winning Best British Film at the BAFTAs.
Great. Okay. Fair. Fine.
So it's picked off.
Listen, you want to bet the favorite. You're going to bet the favorite. I appreciate you're going to do that. It's like you trying to convince me that this is the week Luke List is finally going to win. Like you don't need to convince me. I know you think this, so we can put a pin in it.
Okay. So favorite in Black Panther. 20-1, 25-1. I think those are the two bets. Unless you can find a site to parlay, then you parlay Roma with the rest of what you got on the go, right?
Yep.
All right.
Agreed.
So I feel like we fleshed out most of those big movies, so we can kind of roll through the best ones. Best Actor, we have Rami Malek, the overwhelming favorite for Bohemian Rhapsody. He is minus 670. Christian Bale 4-1, Bradley Cooper 20-1, Vigo 40-1, Willem Dafoe 60-1. Rami's gonna win.
Seems that way.
Mark it in. He might be. Mahershala Ali or Karan are probably the two biggest favorites, but Malek is up there.
It does seem that way now. I mean, I thought that I really thought that Bradley Cooper, when the awards were announced, was going to win this thing. And I thought Christian Bale had an outside chance, and I didn't give Rami Malek much of a chance. And things have just flipped completely where he's a runaway. I don't agree with it. I wouldn't vote for him. I think I'd have him third, but he's going to win. So what can you say about it?
Yeah, so he's the pool pick. It's really hard to bet it because you have to lay $670 to win.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a big, and the one thing about these Oscar bets is that they're not like football bets. You can't wager unlimited amounts of money on them.
And upsets are far less. This is not the NFL. Upsets don't happen very often.
No, but there is one category that I do think is open for a potential upset, only because there's no overwhelming favorite. And like, we'll go to Best Actress. Glenn Close is minus 835 to win. Best Actress for a movie that
I didn't even see her movie, so
I don't think anyone has seen The Wife. Honest to
Okay.
God, I don't know a single person that's seen it. She's the overwhelming favorite. She is minus 835. Olivia Colman for The Favorite is 5-1. And then you have, let's see, Lady Gaga 17-1. Yaltiza Aparicio, her first time role in Roma, is 33-1. Melissa McCarthy is 66-1 to win Best Actress for that movie about books that I don't think anyone saw.
I didn't see it either.
It did win the Writing Guild Award, though, which
Okay.
I just kind of came out of nowhere. It seems like movie people like it, or at least people who like writing like it, because it's about
I can't
books.
imagine.
It's about
Yeah.
books.
That's why people like the adaptation, because it's about writing.
Adaptation's also a hilarious movie.
It has its moments.
It's pretty good. And Nicolas Cage is awesome in it. And saying that, what's his face won for that movie? Chris Cooper, who's the acting is really good in that movie. And
it's true.
I mean, I think Adaptation came out in like 2003. The fact that they have both Nicolas Cages on screen interacting with each other pretty seamlessly is a great editing trick for like for a comp shot. It didn't look super comped.
Yeah, it's true, because like it wouldn't be for like 7 or 8 more years till the Winklevoss twins were like that. So
Yeah,
that was considered kind of groundbreaking.
It's still kind of groundbreaking, the fact they were able to pull that off with Armie Hammer. Anyway, Glenn Close is probably going to win. I do think that Olivia Colman...
so, huh?
I think that Olivia Colman is live, though. And we're going to figure this out really early, that if The Favorite has a chance or not, because if The Favorite has any chance to win, Rachel Weisz will win Best Supporting Actress.
Okay, well, I mean, but that very well could be the first category announced. So
Exactly. So I would hold off making any sort of bet. But if Rachel Weisz does end up winning, then The Favorite is far more live in a lot of these categories than you might think. That would be my take on it. And you can still bet it after that category.
Right, like, you don't have to convince me how much you love The Favorite and everyone related to The Favorite. I get it.
I am telling you the gambling strategy of how this plays out. That if you're going to bet it, if you're going to bet it, do not bet it now. Wait and see what happens, because the odds are unlikely to change after one of the very first categories comes out. But that would be an indicator that she would be more live in this category than Glenn Close winning every single award so far.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm picking Glenn Close to win.
Yes, of course you are. So am I. You'd be crazy not to.
All right. Best Supporting Actor. Mahershala Ali is a minus 1,600 favorite. So you got to wager $1,600 to win 100 on him.
Let's pass over this quickly. He's going to win. He should win. The only other person that I saw that I thought that was good is I really loved Sam Elliott. I thought it was the best part of A Star Is Born.
Yeah, but he's in the movie for like 3 minutes.
That's okay, but he's a supporting actor.
Sure, but like he's barely supporting the movie.
Dame Judi Dench was in Shakespeare in Love for like 6 minutes, and she won Best Supporting Actress. Like, it happens.
Okay, and that's really interesting too. So you have like some of these older. That could be a case for Olivia Colman, but it's a better case for Glenn Close, that they're just going to reward the super oldest person in this category. Does it strike you as odd that he's such an overwhelming favorite in this category, though, Mahershala?
No, not particularly.
Like, he won 2 years ago.
Yeah, he did, but it was Best Actor, and it was a different movie.
No, it was Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, was it supporting in that? Okay,
He was in Moonlight only for like the first 20 minutes.
I guess. I mean, like most people, I saw that movie. I mean, most people did not see that movie, but when I only saw that movie once, and I didn't love it.
You didn't love Moonlight, really?
Like most people, it's like, whatever.
No, see,
like,
that was not the reaction to that movie whatsoever. Everyone who saw Moonlight was like, "Holy shit, that movie was good."
Yeah, it was all right. It's okay. It wasn't a bad movie, but I didn't love that movie.
But you loved La La Land. That was a movie that stuck with you.
Was unquestionably the best movie of the year. The fact that it didn't win is still a travesty. It was so great. One of the best. I'm not going down this road. We've rehearsed this enough. Yeah, Ali is going to win. He should win. He's great in that movie. I mean, I know we made some cases about the problems with Green Book, but Ali is not one of them.
No,
he is really sound.
And with all of the problems that surround this movie, rewarding him and not rewarding it anywhere else kind of alleviates, any culpability the Academy has of rewarding this movie, I think.
I agree.
So, and he's excellent in it. Like him and Viggo are both really good in this movie. That if you remove one of them and you remove that chemistry, like I said, it's probably unwatchable.
Maybe, but that's impossible to know.
Yeah, potentially, but the camaraderie, it's like a buddy cop movie in that way that, some buddy cop movies are written and shot much better than everything else, and there's no chemistry between the leads and it doesn't work. And then you have like Money Talks with Charlie Sheen and Chris Tucker, and you're like, hey, this movie's great.
Or The Good Guys, which was god awful.
Yeah, and people like that movie, which blows
We
my
went to
mind.
see it together in theater. Like
Yeah.
we both said the first 3 minutes of the movie are the best part of the movie.
Yeah. I guess the only like sleeper here, I mean, is there a case that we've just been sleeping on A Star Is Born this entire time and then it just runs train at the Oscars? Because
No.
if Sam, like, let's say Sam, like, this will be one of the first ones announced. What if Sam Elliott wins? Does that change your opinion?
It would be a career achievement award.
But
and
would it make you think like, maybe Bradley Cooper is live, maybe Lady Gaga is live? Like, would that be an indicator? Or would that just be that's its own sort of thing?
it'd
Leave
be
it
one
be?
of the biggest upsets we've seen in a big category in a very long time, and I just don't anticipate it.
I'm trying to think of the last really big upset in Best Supporting Actor, just off the top of my head, with doing no research on it. I think like Jim Broadbent for Iris in like 2000,
Maybe, like,
2001.
I can't think of a super duper big upset in one of the big categories recently. Although I'm sure it's happened, and I just can't remember. People are probably listening who are cinephiles screaming because they remember. But,
All I remember from that year is Broadbent won for Iris when he was so much clearly better in Moulin Rouge, which it just blew my mind that he won for that and wasn't even nominated for the other one. Anyway,
that happens.
so Mahershala winner on that one. Oh, the one I want to give a shout out to that should be in this category. Like I mentioned, I think that Topher Grace should be in over Adam Driver in this spot. But Nicholas Hoult, who played Harley in The Favorite, just no one talks about him, but he is so enjoyable as he's the Tory leader in the movie.
Yes, and he's the Tory member of Parliament. Yeah,
he's so good.
Well, he's like trying to extract some sort of political sensibility out of a queen who's just given up paying attention.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, here's this thing for you. We won. It's like, the war isn't over. Oh, isn't it? Like, she has no idea what's going on in her realm.
She's just, he's a delight in the movie. Do you know what else he was in?
No, I don't.
He is like the nitrous sniffing guy from Mad Max.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, Mad Max Fury Road. Another movie that should have won Best Picture and did not.
Eh.
It's unfortunate that Mad Max didn't come out this year because it probably would have had a better chance now that the Academy is more open to that type of movie actually winning.
It was nominated for Best Picture in its year.
It was, but it was 100-1 that year to win.
Of course it was.
But it ended up winning like 6 Oscars.
Yeah, no, that's right. Remember how upset Alejandro was that it kept winning and he wasn't?
Yeah, well, you want to talk about a movie that like no one will ever think about again is The Revenant. What an awful Best Picture winner.
I disagree because there are a couple of scenes in The Revenant that are very striking.
There's one scene in The Revenant that is super striking. It's the opening scene.
Oh, the bear as well.
The bear is stupid.
Oh, the bear is so cool. You just don't like Iñárritu, and I do. So
I like Birdman fine, but just there's you want to talk about like pretentious movies. The Revenant is super pretentious.
Is it more pretentious than Babel?
No, Babel is probably the most pretentious movie of all time.
Well, some people think it's kind of heavy-handed.
Really, some people think it's kind of heavy-handed. Kind of. Sure.
If people haven't seen that movie, it's on Netflix. Go watch it.
No, don't go watch it. Don't go watch it. Anyway, Best Supporting Actress. This is the competitive category of all the acting ones. Regina King is a -250 favorite for If Beale Street Can Talk. And she's been winning a whole bunch of these, but like she wasn't even nominated for a BAFTA. I think Emily Blunt won this award at the SAGs, and she's not even nominated for A Quiet Place. You got Amy Adams, Rachel Weisz, Emma Stone at 25-1, then Marina de Tavera at I have her at 14-1 here, so I had those two mixed up. Emma Stone's 25, she's 14. That's the right order. I actually thought she was the best part of Roma. That was a performance that is really easy to overlook because it's central to the story, but it is a true supporting performance, and it's very quiet. I just thought it was really good. I actually thought it was better than the lead performance that What's-Her-Face gives.
Yeah, I think that's all perfectly fair.
But
I think Amy Adams is going to win.
I think that Rachel Weisz is going to win.
Of course you do.
She's been.
What a shock that you do.
Well, I mean, she's what did I say? She's third plus 650. That's a bet for me too. Plus,
fine.
You can get
I
7-1.
think Amy Adams is going to win. I think this is a spot for her.
I can get behind that too. She hasn't won before, has she?
I don't believe so. Now, as I say that, now I wonder if she.
I am trying to think. She was nominated for Junebug. She was nominated for The Master. She was nominated for. Did she win for American Hustle?
That's the one I'm thinking about. I'm looking it up right now. I'm efforting that.
But there's the one thing with this performance from Amy Adams is it's so similar to the one that she gave in The Master, but the one she gave in The Master is a better performance because
she hasn't been here for billions of years.
I mean, and in Vice, she doesn't give Dick Cheney a hand job over the sink like she does to Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like she plays mean really well because she doesn't look mean whatsoever. That it's just like, oh my god, coming from her. That maybe this if find out if she's won or not, because if she hasn't won before, this could be a spot for her.
I don't think she has. Oh no, that's not. She received her first Academy Award for Best Actress nomination.
That's nomination. Is
Yeah.
that a win or not? You just don't know where to look this stuff up, do you?
I'm looking it up on the Wikipedia page. Give me a break.
And then how have you not found this yet?
Because I'm not good at the internet.
You're bad at the internet. This is truly bad. Nominee.
No, she never won. She never won.
This is her 6th nomination.
Yeah, this is her. Yeah, it's pending. She hasn't won.
Junebug, Doubt, Fighter, Master, American Hustle, and Vice. Yeah, she's live. I just think that Rachel. A lot of the talk early on between everyone thought that the two actresses from The Favorite would cancel each other out, but it does seem, based on the way that awards have been given out, that Rachel Weisz is the one. And realistically, she's the lead of this movie, isn't she?
I think the Queen Anne character is.
But I feel like Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz are in the movie more than the Queen is.
Yes, but she is the central node of the plot. Sort of like in Julius Caesar, he gets killed in Act 3, but the play's named after him anyway, because like the plot revolves around him in every sense of it.
Yeah, but if you made a movie of it, the Julius Caesar character would probably be best supporting actor, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and Brutus would probably be the lead actor.
So it does seem like Olivia Colman should be in supporting actress, and Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz should be up for lead actress, but they flopped it around. And sometimes, I mean, that can really work against you. You mentioned like Judi Dench goes into a situation where she's barely on screen and ends up winning, but sometimes they like to reward lead performances in supporting categories because it's just basically gaming the system on which category that you nominate someone for. And it strikes me like people didn't like. Did you see If Beale Street Could Talk? Because I didn't.
I did not.
It doesn't seem like the Academy liked it very much. It has like
evidently not. I mean, they have spots open for Best Picture, and they just didn't bother to put it in there.
Yeah, so
didn't get the 5%.
I know Regina King has been winning, but I don't know if there's gonna be an upset in any of these categories. She's the one who's the least favorite, and there's other. You can make a case for a lot of the other actresses in this category.
Yeah, and they've given Weisz a Best Actress before, so they could give it to her again.
Yeah, the Academy likes her. Emma Stone. I mean, Rachel Weisz has won Best Supporting Actor. Emma Stone has won Best Actress. I mentioned Amy Adams.
Weisz won for Best Actress
in Constant Gardener. I thought she was Supporting Actress.
You could be right. Either which way.
Anyway, is there a chance that the mom from Roma, if Roma's going to win Best Picture and it's the favorite to win Best Picture and it's going to win Best Director, is there a chance she wins?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Roma to me reminds me a lot of like when Spotlight won, when it won Best Picture and like it won like one other award, and that was it, and it wasn't an acting award.
Yeah, I have Roma pegged for 3 awards. So anyway, Best Director, that's one of them. Alfonso Cuarón is a minus 3,335 favorite. He is the biggest favorite in any category on the board, I believe. So I have a feeling he's going to win. Spike Lee's 10-1, Yorgos is 33, Adam McKay is 40, and Paul Likowski for Cold War is 33-1. I fired that up last night. I got the new baby, so I'm up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I watched like the first 5 minutes, and I felt myself falling asleep, so I had to turn it off. I'm actually going to watch it tonight, but it's very striking that he's nominated in this category. Just at all, isn't it?
And not Bradley Cooper? Yes.
And I mean, for a foreign language Polish film musical.
Yeah, that there's 2 foreign language films directors up for Best Picture. I mean, that probably hasn't happened in a very long time, if ever.
Yeah, I don't know if it has or not. Cuarón's going to win, though.
Oh, absolutely. And he should. Like, and you made the case earlier, but the way the movie is shot and the cinematography and everything, it deserves it.
Well, I mean, he was the cinematographer on the movie as well, so he might be a dual winner this time around. And just even to talk about, like, a lot of the complaints that I hear about Roma is that, like I said, it's very boring.
And it is.
I didn't find it super boring. I was compelled by the movie. I was invested in the characters of the movie. And if that doesn't hit you right away, then you're probably not going to like it. But like just even some of the, like the scene where I thought it was a nice juxtaposition between the father who really takes his time getting into the garage, and like he's coming in, he's coming out because the car is it's just small enough to fit into this very enclosed space. He takes his time to make sure the car doesn't get dinged up. And he's very methodical about it, and it really lingers on that scene for like 4 minutes, and then
It most certainly does linger.
and then but there's a lot of shots that linger in this movie that really, it's like it gives you a beat, but then it gives you 3 more beats, and I actually like that about it.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't. I had higher expectations for it than what it turned out to be. That's all.
Well, it just sounds like when you say you had high expectations for it, what did you think you were going to be watching when you turned
I
it
had
on?
no idea. I didn't read anything about it. I went in completely fresh.
Okay. See, it feels to me like he was rewarded for Gravity, and Gravity was a technical marvel, but there was no real soul to that story.
No, it was the second best outer space movie of that generation.
Okay. I don't think people are as on board with Interstellar as you are, but okay.
Well, of course, you don't like Christopher Nolan movies. We've already established this.
That is not true whatsoever, but you just happen to think he's a visionary director, and
I think he's the best director of our time.
The weird thing is, like, he got nominated and won for Gravity. He's gonna win for this, and his best movie is so clearly Children for Men, which just like got no recognition whatsoever. I think they got
Children of Men.
Children of Men is amazing. It is by far his best movie.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
And if you ask people about Quran in general, they would say that Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is his best movie.
Well, it probably has made 10 times more than every other movie of his combined.
But in regards to this, he's going to win. Maybe I think that we'll get to Spike Lee here in a second. Let's go to adapted screenplay. So Spike Lee is nominated in this category as one of 4 writers on Black Klansman. That's the favorite at -400. Spike has never won an actual Oscar. I just think that they win. The other nominees are Beale Street Could Talk, +450, Stars Born, 20-1, Can You Ever Forgive Me? Oh, sorry. Can You Ever Forgive Me is +450. Stars Born is 20-1, and the Coens are up 50-1. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which I haven't seen yet. It's on Netflix. I've just kind of been saving it because I don't think it's
not a movie. I mean, it's good, but whatever it is not. It's not a motion picture in the real sense of things.
Is it just a bunch of vignettes?
That's precisely what it is, which is fine. I liked it. I liked the last one the best. I think it's really good, but yeah, this is an opportunity for Spike Lee to be rewarded with a Academy Award. I think it's well deserved, and he'll get it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what my favorite Spike Lee movie is, and it's really tough because he's a lot like Woody Allen in that way, where he just makes so many movies that you forget about all the really, truly terrible ones that come out.
Yeah,
I guess. And your mind gravitates towards the ones that are really good.
Like that Larry David movie that he made.
That was really bad.
Whatever it takes, or whatever works. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, it was him and the girl from Twilight, I think.
Oh boy, was that a bad movie.
Yeah, that wasn't good. I mean, I feel like Spike has a better track record in consistency than Woody Allen does, but the highs haven't been as high.
No, that's right.
But like, people are always just going to point to Do the Right Thing or Malcolm the 10th as their favorite Spike Lee movie. But I really like Inside Man is the only movie that he's made that's like semi big budget, and his take on like a heist action movie is really good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the one he made that was about Lysistrata a couple of years ago. What was that called?
Is that the World War II movie?
No, about the Greek women who don't sleep with their husbands to prevent war.
That was a Spike Lee movie?
Yeah, he made this a couple of years ago. What the heck was the name of that movie?
I think the last movie he made before this was Chirac, which came out like 2 years
ago.
That's
Chirac. That's what I'm thinking of. That's the Lysistrata movie.
Okay. So that was more in the sense of like his underground type thing. Like, I like 25th Hour a lot. I like Do the Right Thing, but I think the Inside Man's probably the best. This might be his best movie. And almost in the same vein as some of the other movies that I've talked about, like hitting my sensibilities, it's pretty funny as well, despite tackling a very serious subject, that it makes it very watchable. I just worry that Charlottesville stuff at the end takes away from the impact that the movie had.
Okay, I mean, like I said, I didn't see it, so I can't really speak to that. But I think he is certainly deserved of an award, so I won't be upset to see him win, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a place to reward him. Best original screenplay, The Favorite is The Favorite at -200. Green Book is +200 in this spot. Roma +650. First Reform from the Paul Schrader, Ethan Hawke movie. People say that Ethan got snubbed for Best Actor. Is 12-1. Vice is 33-1. It's a coin flip between Favorite and Green Book. I mean, if I'm going to take The Favorite in other spots, I'll take The Favorite here.
Sure, I'll go with you. I'll pick it once.
You pick it one. I mean, it's going to win other categories too. So
no, probably it's going to win every category according to you.
That would be fantastic. I mean, I didn't pick it to win Best Picture. I said it was an odds value bet. This is the second time I've picked it so far, and 6
I don't know
nominations.
that odds value bets exist for the Oscars, but anyway.
I mean, that was the whole case for Moonlight winning, is that
I
it was
know, but-
actual odds value.
I know, but anyway.
So if you know, then how is there no odds value?
It was second favorite that year.
It was second favorite, but it was closer to winning than the odds were giving it credit for.
Well, obviously, since it won.
Exactly. So obviously there was fucking line value then, wasn't there?
Okay. It's like this is not like the Chiefs and Broncos, though.
Do you think that line value only exists in football?
Well, I think it's a slightly different concept when we're talking about.
I don't think it
how a
is. I
bunch of
think that
voters in the Academy Awards
anytime
are casting
that there are posted odds on anything, you can find line value in
Yes,
it.
I think it's harder to divine them though when we're the X factor is how a bunch of octogenarian voters in the Academy are casting their ballots.
See, I think that would actually make the line value more able to sniff out because you know who's voting on things. It's not necessarily a random occurrence of events like something like a football game.
All right.
So
Okay,
so you
that's
agree
fine.
with
I
me?
just think that makes sense, but I think it's really hard to figure out the mind of a lot of voters. That's all.
I think on these big categories, you're right. I think the actual value in the Oscars, if you have not
Are
necessarily
the smaller awards,
are the
which
small-
are coming back now.
sure, and we'll get to those. We'll
Coming
just
back to the ceremony, which is good though, because we wouldn't have seen them otherwise.
yeah. I mean, I'm big
like
on
when
I'm
people
big
get
on
awards.
I'm big on editing and cinematography. I like to see people give their speeches and do all
I
that
like
stuff.
those better than the songs and the montages.
I agree. In the
and
over,
all that crap. I just want to see awards.
yeah, they're
I'm like
awards.
you when it comes to golf, who obsessively just wants to see shots for some reason. I only want to see awards during the Academy Awards.
Listen, if you can make a nice montage, that's fine. Do like 2 of them or something like that. We don't need 8 of them. We don't need to see every performance of them in the best music category be performed. Like, I don't care.
No,
Just
I
and
don't care.
people complain about the Oscars being too long, which I think is kind of crazy because
They are too long,
they
but
are-
it's
they are-
decadent.
they are too long, but like, what else are you watching?
And it's the Academy Awards. They're known for their decadence, so you expect them to like go long. I get all of that. Maybe not so much this year, since who knows how it's going to be orchestrated without a host.
Yeah. Do you have any insight to that? Like, how do you think this works?
I really hope that there is a host lined up, and they just will not announce it until the actual start of the award ceremony, so that that person doesn't have people going back into their tweets 15 years to find something that they said when they were 18. Because that's what would happen. No matter who
They'll do that during the show.
Yeah, but at least that way the person is already like doing the, like that. The reason they can't find anybody to do the Academy Award host is that nobody wants to be picked apart. Every comedian, right, who is told an off-color or inappropriate joke or tweeted something that's off-color or crude or something, and they just don't need to deal with the aggravation.
I would tend to agree with you. Maybe the move is to take someone who just has so many personal problems that we end up with Mel Gibson as host.
Or you pick somebody who just doesn't care. Like if you picked Ricky Gervais,
I was gonna say, like,
he
how
doesn't care.
I just the Academy doesn't want to go. The Academy can't have Ricky Gervais up there taking the shots at the people like he does at the Golden Globe.
I mean,
They just
person
cannot
they
have
should
that.
pick- The person who they should pick, and of course, this is what his lifelong goal always was anyway. Just let Barack Obama do it. That's what the only he's ever really wanted to do is to host the Academy Awards. They actually should ask him to do it. He's funny. He's charming. Nobody would dare say a critical word about him. He would be for a one-time only host. He would be like a great host and a bridge builder to whomever they pick next year. That's really who they should have do it.
I really like that you think that Obama wants to host the Academy Awards more than Trump does.
Well, I mean,
Trump
more
would
than
Trump would love to host the Academy
I mean,
Awards, and then he would want to be the presenter and then give himself all the awards.
both of those points are fair. I mean, both of them are, both of them certainly crave attention and love from Hollywood. Just only one got it for obvious reasons, because Trump is it's hard to like, right? But I think Obama would actually be a perfect candidate for it, or Michelle Obama, for that matter, be a perfect candidate for it.
Yeah, it feels like the Academy really just want a straight up like stand up comedian or a song and dance man like Hugh Jackman was.
Yeah, or like there are people they could really go to and ask if they wanted to. Like, what is Steve Martin doing that he couldn't do it?
How old is Steve Martin now?
Does it matter? What's Billy Crystal doing that they just can't ask him to come out of retirement and do it? What's Jon Stewart doing? Well, he can't come out of retirement. to do
Yeah,
anything.
I don't feel like the Jon Stewart Oscars went over super well.
Well, let's see. They went over so well. He got a second crack at it.
I know, but are those ones remarkable in any sort of? It's
I
like
don't know. I mean,
it's like when Chris Rock hosted. It was just like, yeah, it's not.
Yeah, but
I don't think
got a
it's.
couple of
I
cracks.
don't. I
Ellen got a couple
don't
of
think.
cracks.
I don't think it's a good venue for straight up stand up comedians anymore. I don't.
No, I mean, if it's it's tough. I mean, I don't particularly care for Jimmy Kimmel's comedy, but I thought he was okay for him on the Academy Awards. You get to do it twice. It means you're doing a good enough job. You get asked back.
I actually thought he was fine. Like he's the sort
Uh.
of bland type of host that you would want. But I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like who they could get.
You
Like,
need to pick somebody who's as big as the awards, like somebody famous
Well,
and big.
okay, if we're gonna talk about like getting people at a retirement and things like that, what about Seinfeld?
Seinfeld would be a great candidate for it.
Just have Seinfeld and Larry David host the
Or
Oscars.
Jay Leno would be a great candidate. People love Jay Leno.
People don't like Jay Leno.
People love. He is beloved. You don't like him. He is beloved in
He's
real America.
not beloved. That in Middle America, sure. These are not the people who are running the Oscars.
No, but they want them to watch too. Like
They're gonna watch. That's the difference.
I don't know. Anyway, we spent too much time on this.
All
We'll
right.
see how it goes without a host. I think it's unfortunate that the political climate doesn't allow for us to have a comedian, and I don't know how they overcome this next year. Like this problem isn't going away. People aren't going to stop being Twitter sleuths and finding something problematic in 12-year-old tweets. Like
I have a feeling this whole thing ends up going away. I just don't know how long that's going to take.
yeah, I don't think the fever may break, but I don't think it's breaking anytime soon.
Yeah. All right. The rest of the awards will fly through these. So if you got your pools out there, we'll tell you the favorites. Who's going to win, at least according to us. Best animated feature of the year. You got Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and something called Mirai, which is 40-1. Spider-Man is minus 2,000 to win. I will take Spider-Man.
Absolutely, it's enjoyable. Let's go with it.
I
One of these.
haven't seen it. Is it really good?
Yeah, it's quite something else.
I've heard nothing but excellent things. It's Lord and Miller who did it, right?
Yeah, guys who when they got fired off of Star Wars, that was like the clarion call sign that the people over at Disney with Star Wars don't know what they're doing and shouldn't have their jobs.
Well, it's funny. Well, I mean, this is a strong take from you, who said that they should be fired, and putting the hands of Solo into Ron Howard was the way to go.
That is not my view.
That was your view. That's exactly what you said, and he's going to make the movie better because obviously it was going off the rails. Obviously, Lord and Miller would have made the Solo movie. You even like the Solo movie's not good, but like you could see the elements of Lord and Miller in that script.
100% on board with Lord and Miller having that.
We can,
This
if
is
people want to go back and watch
tape.
the tape, and you were just so big on Ron Howard,
No,
Oscar-winning
this is
director.
such a misinterpretation. This is a straight up just fabrication of fake news. That's what this is. I was the one who was upset that Lord Miller got fired. They should have had that job. They knew what they're doing. Ron Howard couldn't do anything with Solo, which was a bad move. Let's move on. You notice that came out this year and it's got like no nominations.
It has one, I think.
Oh, does it?
I think so. I think visual effects it's in.
Yeah, good job. That's a good movie they did there. That's
Yeah,
good work, Kathleen Kennedy. You really got to bang up shop over there.
If they had just made it funny, it would have been great.
They tried to make it funny.
Well, they fired the two guys who were gonna make it funny.
Yeah, the movie is awful because the people over at Disney do not know what they are doing.
Well, listen, hold on.
To direct a Star Wars movie, and he doesn't know what he's doing with a big budget. Then they take Lord Miller away. They put in Ron Howard, who can't resuscitate a movie. They've got all their hopes pinned on J.J. Abrams saving the Star Wars trilogy from the disaster of Rian Johnson the last time. I have no idea what they're doing, but I hope that after this movie, we won't have any for a while because they need to significantly retool.
I don't know. I like Last Jedi a lot, far more than A Force Awakens.
Well, you're like one of the six.
That's absolutely not true.
Garbage. That movie is garbage.
All right, if you say so. I thought it was great.
I do say so.
Yeah, well, you say a lot of things, and most of them not true, and then you claim it's fake news when you're wrong. Who does that remind you of? Foreign language film, Roma's in this category. It is minus 3,300. Cold War, I think. Cold War than Shoplifters, the only other two with a chance, but it seems... Is it possible that Roma wins Best Picture and doesn't win this category?
That would make zero sense.
So, yeah.
Zero.
Roma for the both of us?
Yes.
I'm very curious to watch Cold War. I think it's going to be... It's very short, too. It's like 88 minutes, I think.
Okay.
And it's also an Amazon movie. Best documentary feature, Free Solo. I think that's about your opinions about the Han Solo movie.
I don't think it is.
That's minus 138. That's the favorite. RBG, the Ruth Gator Binsberg movie, is even money.
That is going to win.
I don't think it's going to win.
That is going to win.
All right, so
Take it in.
You're taking RGB.
Yeah, I am taking RBG. Yeah, take it.
I'll take the favorite, Free Solo. Ho 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 ho. Maybe it's
yes. They're really about Jabba the Hutt being asked to free Solo from Carbonite.
Maybe that's what it's about. The Star Wars winning Oscars. I have no idea what Free Solo is about.
No, neither do I.
Let's see. Best cinematography. Roma is an overwhelming favorite. Alfonso Cuarón not only directed this movie, wrote this movie, produced this movie. He actually shot the movie himself too. This is a nice spot to get him the double Oscar this time around. He might win 3 this year, but it's minus 2,000 to win.
Yeah, we're going with it. I'm not stepping out on the limb.
But it's when you watch the movie, I think that people get it twisted all the time. Like they don't quite know what goes into best directing or what goes into best cinematography. I feel like when you watch Roma, those are the 2 elements of the movie that stick out more than anything else.
I agree with you.
So the other nominees, Cold War is actually the second favorite, 8-1. Star is Born, the favorite, Never Look Away. I like the favorite cinematography. I just think it's far too weird for the Academy to really go after here.
Of course you do.
Did you not like it?
No, just of course you like it.
No, but did you?
It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Did you not enjoy just the? I mean, we saw this with the colorization of A Star Is Born to give it that unique look. When I think about did you see High Flying Bird yet?
No.
So it's on Netflix now, shot completely on iPhones, and it really creates some really cool angles with how you can actually position iPhones just by sticking Velcro on the back and just putting it anywhere in a room, that it just creates a visual language that's really cool. I thought there was not necessarily similar shots in the favorite, but camera positioning and the different types of lenses that they use were just kind of off the board based. Like when you see the way that Roma is shot, it's a very traditional style, a lot of camera movement. Everything is so meticulous in the frame, and it's really exquisite to watch. Like when I compare it to high-end photography, it really is. The favorite is kind of the opposite of that. It just creates it jibes with the vibe of the movie more so than anything else. And I thought that was really cool, but I think that's just, again, too weird for the Academy. Up next, best film editing. Vice is the favorite, Tim, at minus 125. The favorite, 2-1, Bohemian Rhapsody, 3-1, Black Klansman, 12-1 in Green Book, 28-1. You got a pick?
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. I think what they're doing with that sort of creating of a music video and the way that the songs and the scenes are spliced together, I thought was excellently done. And I think you made the case earlier, but the way they sort of edited Rami Malek to sort of cover up for some of the things he just couldn't be when it came to impersonating Freddie Mercury. I think I'm going with that. That's my stance.
I'm torn. I'm actually kind of with you. I think the other backup point to Bohemian Rhapsody, that might be a bet for me at plus 333. Only because I think that it has a better chance to win in this category than the favorite does, and there might be some backlash to Vice, like you said. Like there's not necessarily a political backlash to Vice or even quality of movie, but the stylization of the movie, like it is immaculately edited. It's one of the very strongest points of that movie is tying everything together. But the big thing,
I mean, if they're going to edit history, they'll edit the movie.
That's fine, Tim. In terms of the visual style of that movie, just like. Oh, it's very unique looking, and the way that it's pieced together is very unlike any of these other movies. But when we think about Bohemian Rhapsody, I mean, this is a movie where the director just disappeared for the last 6 weeks of the movie. So they had this footage and they made a movie out of it. I mean, that is editing by and large, being able to tell a coherent story from all this raw footage. So I think that it's going to win.
Good. We're on the same page.
Let's see. What's up? Production design is up next. Is that up next? Yeah, the favorite's the favorite at minus 240. Black Panther, 175. Roma, 10-1. Mary Poppins, 33. First Man, 33. I think it's down to the first 3 that I mentioned. Black Panther.
Yeah, I'm going to take I'll take Black Panther.
Yeah, it'd be weird if Black Panther got out of the Oscars without winning an actual Oscar.
It would be very strange. And so I think this is a safe one for sure. Roma might be the bet at 10-1, only because everything that we've talked about so far, I guess it depends on, I mean, obviously the Academy likes it. It's the favorite to win Best Picture. So I think it does have support in that field anyway. Cuarón's whole production team generally gets recognized and stuff like this. And
I guess that whether it's the performances, the story, some people, like I said, some people find it boring. That if you are into this movie, I think the production design does go a long way in making this movie feel authentic.
Okay, no, I think that's a fair point.
But the favorite like has all the historic stuff that wins this category. It's
Oh yeah,
old
that's true.
timey stuff. It has wigs. Everything looks like super good. It had jars of unborn babies around. Like you have to production design that. It had a lot of cake.
Yeah, well, the wig that the Tory leader is wearing is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, even just like I think everyone in this movie vomits at some point. Like that looks super realistic.
Yeah, no, listen, we know you love the movie. We know every part of the movie is great. I agree with you on this part.
So I'm gonna go with the favorite, although I can see Black Panther or Roma potentially taking this one. Like I said, I might take a dip on Roma at 10-1. Best original song,
The freest of free money on the board.
minus 3,030 Shallow. Gotta
Yeah.
get Lady Gaga onto the stage here.
It's going to win. There's no way it doesn't win. There's no universe in which it doesn't win. It is the lock of all locks.
It's not the biggest favorite. Quran is actually
I know, but I don't care. I actually think it is the biggest favorite because it can't possibly lose.
the only other one, the Black Panther song is 9-1. That's the only one I think that has a shot, unless the Academy loves Mary Poppins.
I don't think they do.
It's nominated for a bunch of these categories.
That's fine.
Best original score. If Beale Street Could Talk is actually the favorite at minus 163. Black Panther is plus 225. Mary Poppins 5-1. Black Klansman 14-1. Isle of Dogs 25-1. I think Black Panther wins.
Sure, I'm with you on that. That's what I have circled.
Black Panther, Black Panther. If you want to find our entire collection of picks, it will be up on dkplaybook.com. I'll have the link in the description of the podcast and video up on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme. Best sound mixing, A Star Is Born is the favorite at plus 137. No over... Oh, no. Now, it was the favorite. Now Bohemian Rhapsody is the favorite at minus
Yes,
one.
that was my pick.
Yeah, Bohemian
No doubt.
Rhapsody was the second favorite. Now it is the favorite at almost 2-1, minus 175. Star is Born plus 137. First Man, Black Panther, and Roma at 40-1. I guess the difference between these, if people want to know, the difference between sound editing and sound mixing is sound editing is just gathering all of the sounds for the movie. Sound mixing them is putting them all together on a timeline and track, so it actually makes sense in terms of the movie. So if people are wondering what the difference is, and musicals tend to do well on this, although I guess we have Stars Born for Shallow. Is that the only win we have at getting?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Radio Gaga over Lady Gaga here.
What?
It's the Queen song from
Oh.
Live Aid. It was a funny joke. You can get it.
Yeah. I thought you were just trying to make some sort of Lady Gaga joke here.
No, I was making a Queen joke.
I thought
Just
you were
fine.
trying to make a riff on best sound mixing versus best sound editing.
Yes, that's what I was doing.
Versus live performance versus recorded performance, which is the difference of these categories. You picked the inopportune time for that joke, Tim.
Whatever. Felt good about myself.
Well, do you feel worse about yourself now?
No.
So you're taking Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Star Is Born, actually. Although Bohemian Rhapsody did just win the Sound Mixing Guild Award for Best Sound Mixing. Best Sound Editing, First Man is a big favorite here at minus 250. Quiet Place 2-1. Bohemian Rhapsody 3-1. Black Panther 9-1. Roma 33-1. I'm taking A Quiet Place. I mean, if sound editing was ever made for a movie, it was The Quiet Place.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with you. I think First Man is too much of a moonshot to win.
Do you have these like written down?
Yes.
Oh my God. Best costume design, the favorite, again, the favorite, minus 250. Black Panther, plus 175. Mary Poppins. Mary, Queen of Scots. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. The person who did the costume design for the favorite, actually, I skipped a whole bunch of categories here. Actually, I believe did the Mary Poppins stuff too, so she could technically cancel each other out, which would make Black Panther the winner, but I'm going to stick with the favorite here.
I'm with you.
Old-timey British movie in its costumes. Yep. That sounds about right. What did I miss? Oh, best visual effects. Avengers Infinity Wars is minus 500.
That's what I'm taking. That movie was fantastic.
It was like okay.
It was great. Truly great. except for the last 5 minutes, which was cheap. But everything else was great.
All right, so I guess that's what we're going with here.
Yeah, I loved it.
I mean, I like the special effects, and it seems like that's going to be the case here. What I missed? Did I miss film editing? I feel like I missed. Oh, best makeup. Here we go. Best makeup and hairstyling. Vice minus 2,500. Vice is going to win this category.
Sure.
All
Every dog must have his day.
Pick something else then. I dare you.
Now, I know you do dare me, but I'm not going to give you a free square. So no.
Okay. So now this is where all this stuff is won. Documentary short. We have Period, The End of Silence, Black Sheep, which is not the Chris Farley, David Spade movie. I looked into that. Endgame, Lifeboat, and A Night at the Garden. I'm going to take...
didn't see any of these. I will be taking period, end of the sentence.
All right. Do you know what that movie is about?
I don't know what any of these are about.
I actually know what period...
It's about grammar and punctuation?
No, it's actually about menstruation.
Aha.
Hence the title.
That was my second guess.
Yeah. So I'm going to take Black Sheep to win that one and just hope that people think it's the Chris Farley, David Spade movie and vote for it. Best animated short film, that one that ran before The Incredibles is going to win.
Which one is that?
Bao. Bao? Yeah, that one.
All right, sure. Let's go with it. I don't know.
It's minus 450 to win. It's a big favorite.
Yeah, that's fair.
And maybe it's just headcanon on my part, but it feels like that whatever runs before the Pixar movie always wins. Unless you're Kobe. Yeah. Kobe won this last year.
Yes, he did.
Last one, best live action short film.
Oh, your favorite movie is up for this.
Yeah, 40-1, Mother, but that's Mother without the exclamation point at the end.
Or the lowercase m, which could have been the first sign of the type of movie you're dealing with.
No, they didn't show that. I mean, they did show that in the marketing. People were just not savvy enough to pick up on it.
Yeah. I'm going to take Detainment.
Detainment? Yeah, that sounds like a movie that would win, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
I'll go with I don't even know how to pronounce this. What is this?
Marguerite, Skin, Fauve, and Mother.
Fauve.
Or Fauve or Fauve.
I'll go with Marguerite. It's the favorite. I'll take it. Honestly, like this is where we've seen this in like the past couple of years where like underdogs win these categories like no one gives a shit about. That if you're looking for line value and you actually know these movies and like know what they're about or know someone who made one of them, who knows, or have some sort of insight, you can win some real money on these ones.
I agree completely. This is where the pools are won and lost. Like when Parcells says, "This is why you lift all those weights." This is where you win and lose all these things.
All right, you have a free money parlay for us then.
Yeah, I mean, if you can make it.
There will be some sites out there where you can make it, but they're very, very, very offshore.
I was just going to say, I know it's lame, but just connect Roma for Best Picture with Cuarón, with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and then just to get a little taste, go ahead and take Black Panther for Best Original Score.
Okay. When you make these parlays, right? What's the point of throwing on an underdog in this situation if you're taking guys that are you're taking on minus 3,300 favorites as a part of a parlay? And the thing that's going to, let's say you hit all those. I mean, it's not going to pay much anyway, but now you're throwing on something that is not even a favorite to win. Like either parlay the favorites together or bet the Black Panther best score by itself.
Fine. I'll take that off and we'll just go with the favorites then. You've convinced me.
So what does that pay?
Not much.
I'm going to look at the parlay calculator here. Let's see what this actually pays.
I also should throw on the Lady Gaga song since I claimed it was the freest of all free money.
So Shallow at minus 3,300.
The time you guys tried to bully me into putting the Jets on that parlay.
All right. We didn't bully you when you said they were the freest money on the board, and then you didn't put them on a parlay to cover the tease. That would be why I wouldn't say you got bullied into it. You just made a ludicrous claim and were too afraid to back it up like a coward. So let's see. Minus 2,500, minus 305, minus 3,300. And what was the other one you had? Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? That's minus 2,000. Minus 2,000. Calculate. So if I bet $100 on that parlay, I win $49.
Huh, there you go. Bet the farm, win an extra half farm.
So it's like it's like minus 205.
I like it.
So if you can find somewhere to parlay the stuff together, you'd probably be better off if you're just going to take all those big ones anyway. You might as well throw on Glenn Close. You might as well throw on Rami Malek and all like the big favorites in the acting categories.
That's fine too.
And then you might be able to get it to around even money. That would, if you're going to make an outrageous parlay like this, go for it. I think you're better off betting like I said, taking Black Panther and the favorite to win Best Picture at 20 and 25 to 1. That's an avenue.
Which is, by the way, our strongest suggested bets. Take those two. That's got the best ROI, as the kids say.
Do you know what ROI stands for?
Yes, return on investments.
Okay, I was just wondering because you throw this stuff out all the time, like when you always say plus EV. Now you do technically know what the E in the V and the plus stand for, but you seem to have no concept of what that actually means. Oh, question from the audience. Yes, sir.
Do you know how you calculate your ROI?
Tim, do you know how to calculate your ROI?
I don't need to prove anything.
That will do it on the 91st Academy Awards Picks Bets show on the Pat Mayo Experience. I would like to thank for being on the line and getting through all of this with me, Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson.
That's not my name. Hashtag Pat Mayo for Oscars host.
I don't need them digging. I don't need them digging into my old tweets, Tim. Imagine if they made you Oscars host. The tweets that they would uncover from you. They wouldn't even be like bad in the sense of like they would offend people on like a personal level because of how bad your takes are. Not offensive to anyone unless it was like their taste, but just imagine. Like you're on like, oh, Tim Anderson is going to be hosting the 92nd Academy Awards. Here's his list of best Halloween candy. For whatever reason, he has raisins at number 1.
Thank God I wasn't the host the year they gave the award to the wrong movie. I didn't take the heat for that.
That's true. All right, you can follow Tim on Twitter at Tim Anderson, like always. And you can follow
at Tim Anderson 87. I am the maven of the internet. I bring the funny.
Thank you for watching these movies and getting up to speed with me here.
You're welcome. Well, it's one of my favorite shows of the year too. So I did my due diligence.
If you want to find just the cheat sheet of everything, hit the description of the video and or podcast, and you can find that up on dkplaybook.com and my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme. And you can bet on this stuff at DK Sportsbook, but the odds and lines are subject to change. See website for actual odds. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. If you want to get into a draw for 20 DK dollars, here's what you do. Number 1, smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section and tell me what you think is the freest money, the biggest lock of any category on the board. And I'll announce the winner on Monday's show. Or you can just rate, review, and subscribe to the audio podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, 5-star review, something nice about the show, and your DraftKings handle. You're in that draw as well. Follow me on Instagram if you like pictures of babies, at the PME. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!